All right, what's going on? Good people, back at it again. Another NFL video. It's ironic that of course, this is the Instant Class Wrestling Podcast. We do talk about wrestling, and we were talking about wrestling before we went live. Ironically enough, so that's a discussion we want to definitely bring to our wrestling fan base that comes for the wrestling, of course. And just to kind of give a little breakdown of what we were discussing before we went live, just in case you were interested. We were kind of just talking about kind of how certain wrestling companies can't get criticized, or you can do the same thing, and it's just one of those little double standard type deals where you can do the same thing in one company and the same thing in another company, but one company we're like, but, yeah. So, and it's kind of the thing we talked about. We've talked about, kind of going into the NFL thing, where certain players are allowed to make mistakes, but when other players make mistakes, we don't see it. So, but anyway, let's jump right into this whole Super Bowl preview, and we're gonna also do our season in review. For Justin, it's a little bit different. Shout out to Justin down there, and Adam and Casey as well, DJ here. But for Justin, it's a little bit different because, of course, he's got a big. His team has a big game this weekend in the Super Bowl. So, of course, we'll talk a little bit more about them. We'll let him give his kind of season in review, and when we'll talk about off season and free agency and stuff like that next week. But in terms of season in review and how we thought our teams did this year, we'll let Justin wait and see what they do at the end, the very, very end of the season before we kind of let him, go on his tangent that he's probably going to want to go on next week. But nonetheless, let's jump into this season in review real quick. Since the last time we were live, Matt Stafford has been traded for Jared Goff, which was wild. And interestingly enough, to bring up a Colts point here, there's been rumors of Andrew Luck potentially coming back, and some of it's been shot down. Some of it's been like it could happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. But the reason that I brought the Colts up was because they were kind of the front runner for a while there for the Matt Stafford thing. They were the absolute front runner for that, and just out of the blue, the Rams were like, "Ha ha, gotcha! No sir, you're not gonna get this." So that was wild to me. That shocked me a little bit. It was just completely out of the blue, and I know this is kind of random, not necessarily a season in review type thing, more of an off-season thing. But nonetheless, because of course there's a Colts fan here, I do want to, everybody. I want to get everybody's thoughts on it. Of course, I'm surprised. That's my thoughts on it. But real quick to Casey, like, what were you thinking when Matt Stafford didn't come to the Colts? Even though everybody was like, "Yep, he's coming to the Colts." It's all set up. It's set up just like that. It's set up.
I mean, I try not to get my hopes up too high with anything Colts related because there's been a couple of years where all the experts said we were going to go to the Super Bowl, and it's been a couple of years. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of upset, but at the same time, I look at it as there's been a lot of times where franchise players are get traded, and the team that gets them thinks that they're going to be all that they needed, and it's going to turn everything around, and it turns into a bust. And my fear is that is what would happen, if we got and we didn't get what we thought. But at the same time, I really don't know who we can go for, or who would really be good for us. Um,
There's been some talks about Carson Wentz. Um,
that
that's been one, and I think because Frank Reich was one of those guys who coached Carson Wentz when he was kind of at his peak a little bit, which is interesting. That's very interesting. I think that's an interesting move because to me with Carson Wentz, I think a lot of it's mental and mechanics. I think his mechanics are kind of messed up in a way, but I think at the same time, mentally, mentally he since the injuries, mentally he's kind of been all over the place. But Adam, what's kind of your thoughts on everything going on in Indy and that whole trade, I guess.
I was I was genuinely surprised. I won't say pleasant, just because as much as I loved Matt Stafford, I wanted no business. I wanted nothing to do with him being in the AFC, just because as I stated before, Matt Stafford is not good. He is elite. He is really fucking good, and I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves and uh, know what he dealt with in his time with Detroit. But it's it can potentially be a win-win. Right now, I would say it's a win for Detroit for the future. What I mean, granted, sometimes I think the number ones get overvalued a little bit because that doesn't guarantee that said player, whoever you draft, is going to be a starter and or a star. But it does give you capital to get somebody you know is established within a trade, blah blah blah, or to move up into the draft to get somebody who's going to be your guy. One thing that I'm wondering with the Rams, are they allergic to first round picks? They gave up what, three to get Ramsey? They gave up two for Stafford. I don't think they're not going to have a number one draft pick until a first round draft pick until 2024.
Here's my thing, Adam, and we'll just add this into the whole Colts,
Well,
the Colts whole season in review thing. My thing on that, real quick, and I know Casey, you got a point. My thing on that is sometimes the issue with the draft is it's like rolling dice. It's a lot of luck, and you don't know. And I'm not talking about Andrew. It's a lot of luck. You never know what you're gonna
I
get
see
with
what
it.
you did there.
Because and I think that's kind of the issue. Like, and maybe that's what the Rams see. Now, my thoughts on it: if you're gonna throw that much at Matthew Stafford, why are you not throwing that much at Deshaun Watson? That's what I want to know.
Thank you.
But go ahead, Casey.
That's
I,
what I
I know
said.
you
If
had a
I'm
point.
Jim Irsay, if I'm Jim Irsay though, I'm selling the farm to get Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
well, two quick sidebars for that Colts related. I did read somewhere that I guess Jacob Eason is training in the off season to potentially be the starter. I don't know. I haven't really paid too much attention to him, so I don't know.
I've heard
But
he's not ready.
also, I swear to God, if Andrew Luck comes back, I'm gonna be so pissed, so pissed. You don't, you don't dip out on us and then fucking come back the next. No, no,
I mean,
no.
but think
Hey
about it,
guys,
Casey.
I'm ready.
Casey, but think about it. Like, this is a guy who was hurting pretty bad when he went out. He takes a couple of years off, gets his body refreshed. You got a way better team than you had around him before. You got the
It
best
was
offensive
like
line
a
you've had in
year.
years. What?
It was like a year.
It was
Okay,
two. It's been two. You had Philip Rivers and Jacoby Brissett. That's 2 years. That's 2 years for him to heal up. You got a freaking great offensive line at this point. What kind of offensive line did you have for Andrew? None. You had no offensive line for that man. That's why he was hurting like he was. A poor man.
I mean, but still, you don't just do that right before the season starts. Come on now, come on now.
Not that I think he's going to though. The whole
I think
report
that
was
is
he
a more.
misses football or something.
Yeah, I don't think yeah, but still, I would
Well, yeah,
I would accept him back, but I would still be like, why would you leave us that abruptly? That's the only thing I would be upset about.
there would be a lot of hurt feelings. There would be a lot of hurt feelings still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. But Justin, do you have any thoughts on kind of the Matthew Stafford trade at all? Because after that we'll get
I
into this.
I think it was kind of shocking. I wasn't expecting Matt Stafford to go to the Rams. I was expecting, like you said, more of him to go to the Colts because I feel like he fit that style more.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Yeah, it was surprising. I think it surprised pretty much all of us, pretty much everybody. But let's jump into it since we're on the Colts. We might as well. jump into their kind of season in review, and I'll start with Casey. Kind of, you know, I guess how this will work is, give your thoughts on how you think the season went. Did you overachieve? Did you underachieve? You can give your favorite moment if you want to. It's just kind of a blurb on how you felt like the Colts season went this year. I mean, you came into the season, you had Flip Rivers. Yeah, my boy Flip Rivers, with the bolo ties and all. And then you had the great defense, good offensive line. I think, for me, in my opinion, from an outside looking in perspective, I think the Colts were better than anybody would ever give them credit for this year. They almost were like last year's Titans. I felt like better than anybody would ever give them credit for.
Great point.
But Casey, Colts. What? I mean, how did you feel about the season that ended a couple weeks ago? But still,
I mean, all in all, I was happy with it. I think the same as we kind of talked about this in the beginning of the season. This was a completely different kind of season. With COVID and everything, we didn't have a preseason. There was a lot of guys kept going down with COVID left and right. A bunch of teams completely had to kind of skip over games because of quarantine issues and people coming in contact with COVID. I feel like we didn't have that much of an issue with it. I don't feel like too many guys in the Colts went down with COVID, which was good. But I mean, I think we had a good team. Obviously, we had Fitty Ribs, my boy Fitty Ribs. Good veteran quarterback. I think that's something that we kind of needed to kind of get us back, a little bit of confidence back. I think, especially after kind of. I mean, I love Jacoby, but he's Philip Rivers, and I wish we still had Philip, but I understand he's getting up there. He has full right to retire. I get it. It's fine. But I mean, hey, we made it to the playoffs. We won the division. We didn't make it as far as we wanted to. Obviously, it would have been nice to at least make it to the AFC Championship game. I think that would have been nice. But we'll definitely be back there. I know that we got a good team. We just need to find out who our quarterback is and put all the pieces together. But I mean, all in all, I was happy with the season. I didn't walk away from the season upset or depressed or anything. Obviously, when we got kicked out of the playoffs, I was a little upset. But all in all, like, it was a good season.
I think, and I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on the Colts, kind of how their season went, but I do want to pose this question, and if anybody else has their thoughts on the Colts kind of season, feel free to answer it as we talk about this as well. Philip Rivers a Hall of Famer? I think without a shadow of a doubt, he's a Hall of Famer. Some people are like, I don't know. People, of course, factor in championships in that, and of course, Philip Rivers didn't get that chance. But I mean, in terms of like his numbers, what he does, and his team's being relatively competitive for the most part. I definitely think he deserves a gold jacket. That's just me though. But I also think Chad Ochocinco deserves one too. I mean, not because he put one on by himself during the celebration, but
I mean, I honestly, I still can't believe he doesn't have at least one Super Bowl championship. Like, out of his entire career, I don't understand. I don't at all. But then there's other players that probably should have them, but it's just wrong place, wrong time, I guess.
Yes, we are talking about Philip, Adam.
Philippe.
No, because I think that 06 year, I think, was his. I don't want to say was his only shot, but that was the closest that he's got when he played the Patriots basically on one leg, and I think they still had LT and Gates and that company. Even he agrees, right? But I definitely think he's a Hall of Famer for sure.
Yeah, I mean, my kind of final thoughts on like the Colts season. Like I said, I think the Colts were far better than anybody will ever give them credit for this year. And I think some of that, it's ironic because Philip Rivers, I think elevated them to a playoff team, but at the same time, to everybody watching in terms of like analysts and those who supposedly study football, it was like, but Philip Rivers is the issue. Philip Rivers will be the issue. Philip Rivers will be the reason they lose games. And Philip Rivers wasn't by far. What I think somebody told me today that he cut his interceptions in half. So Philip Rivers wasn't the reason they were losing football games. But anyway, and of course the little that they did, because they didn't lose very many, but nonetheless. Real quick, in terms of like, Casey, did you have like a favorite moment this year that like you just, I mean, was it the Texans fumbling twice to let y'all win multiple times? Or
That was up there. That was definitely up there. Anytime we beat the Texans, it's always a good day. Also, anytime we get to beat the Patriots, those are definitely good days. But no, just this season in general. I don't think there was anything that really popped out that was like, oh, this is awesome. But just a generally good season. I don't know where Adam went, and it scares me.
Narnia. Went to Narnia. And you got to take that trip at least once. You know, you got to take that trip at least once.
I mean, I go there multiple times a week.
True. I mean, it gets lost. Like he goes there so much, he gets lost in there. So, but nonetheless, let's jump into the Ravens season in review. Then we'll go to the Browns, of course. I guess these kind of will intertwine a little bit anyway.
The Chiefs, right?
Well, the Chiefs will be next week after we figure out what the heck they're going to do for the end of the season. Or we figure out where they're going to finish at the end of the season, I guess we should say, unfortunately.
You're talking first or second.
Yeah, you either get first or runner-up, so whichever one you want.
So basically, you're either the winner or the first loser.
I mean, yeah.
You ain't first, you're last.
That's true.
But jumping into the Ravens season in review, very interesting season for me as a Ravens fan. High highs, low lows. Losing 4 or 5 and making the playoffs after losing 4 or 5. I'm trying to think, because they went, what'd they go? 2-0, then 2-2, and then lost 4 or 5. So they got the C word, and then, I mean, the biggest outbreak in the NFL this season.
Be careful now.
Yeah.
Careful now.
Right. Got the biggest outbreak this season, and of course that sucked. Like, I mean, there was like 20 players out for that Steelers game, and a couple players out for the Colts game. I think it was still 10 out for the Colts game or something like that. In terms of like on the field though, the start of the season was just weird. It felt like they were trying new things or trying things that weren't what they do and trying to do like wild stuff. It was like they were trying to be a little bit extra in a way, a little different, but it wasn't really clicking like it was last year. Now, albeit, like I've said before, last year was a record-setting season. This year was also, in a way, a record-setting season in other ways. So, I mean, what can you say? But in terms of the offense, the end of the season kind of was a microcosm of everything this season was. You had the bad snaps from 2 games this year, the Patriots game and another game earlier in the season. I think it was the Chiefs maybe is when they had bad snaps. I can't remember right off the top of my head. But I know the Patriots was one of them. You had the defense giving up not many points, but giving up big points when you kind of needed them, and that happened a couple of games this year. You had the offense not showing up at all in that game, or like making, or like showing up or getting down the field and then not finishing. And it's funny because I'm sure if anybody's watched our pick shows the whole year, you'd hear me say, just finish your drives, just finish your drives, just finish your drives. So that was ironic in terms of that game.
And
like,
play the way that, their scheme of scheme of
things. Yeah, that was another thing I'd say. But like, I mean, for me, it was disappointing in terms of how it ended, because if I was going to lose, I would have rather have lost kind of like the Monday Night Football game where the Browns were on that portion of the loss, right? Like I would have rather lost and it been competitive. It been like, oh man, they just got the ball last, darn. Not pick six. Lamar goes out and just everything implodes from within, right? Like no. So I mean that sucked. That sucked, but I mean. In terms of the season, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good season. It could have been better, of course, but it wasn't as disappointing as last year. Last year was so disappointing. It was such a letdown. And although the Bills game was a letdown, don't get me wrong, I think the Ravens could have beat the Bills. Still, you know, it's a interesting season, a weird season. I can't be too.
I wish you guys would have beat the Bills.
Why didn't they?
Why didn't they beat them if they could beat them?
Yeah.
Because they played like But anyway.
Speaking of
okay, the offense played terribly. But anyway, I give the defense all the credit in the world. And I'll talk about kind of additions that I would like to see made and all that next week. My favorite moment of the year, sorry, Adam, Monday Night Football. That was
actually. Can I give a favorite moment for my team?
I will let you. I'll let you when we get to the Super Bowl thing. I'll let you give your favorite moment.
I'll just give my favorite moment right now because it kind of ties in.
Screw it. Just take over the show. Here, it's your show.
When the Chiefs beat the Ravens. There we go.
Wow. Oh, that's the favorite. That's your favorite moment of the Ravens season. Okay, I get it. I get it. I'm here with you now. Okay. Whatever.
You hear me now?
Whatever. I was upset that game. That was a
good night, everybody.
That's a terrible game. I don't want to relive that. But nonetheless, my favorite moment of the year, Browns, Ravens. I mean, this was my favorite game of the year, period. No matter how it would have went.
It was the game of the year.
Yeah.
It was the game of the year, no matter what.
Definitely. I mean, all the drama of it, the finish of it, Lamar going out with freaking cramps. We should have blew the Browns out, darn it. We were blowing them out. We were killing them. We was killing them. That's what Casey would say. We was killing them, okay? We was killing them. And then Lamar went out, and then 14. Actually,
no. It was 14 points. 14 points was your handicap. Mm-hmm. And then Baker said, "Hold my beer," and brought him back.
You're right. We was on the way to killing them, okay? We was on the way. But nonetheless, I mean, we was doing good. We was playing well, and then Lamar goes out, and I'm like, where's Lamar?
Would you say he had a blowout?
That whole man.
Wait, did you Falcon it?
Somewhat, kind of. But anyway, not that bad though. But Browns come back. Ravens win at the end. Oh, it was glorious. Lamar runs out, hero, blah, blah, blah. Baker comes back and freaking crushes my hopes and dreams because they score on that drive. And I'm like, why'd you pay the defense this much? I'm literally saying this, though. I'm literally, like, talking to my friend on the mic. Why do we pay the defense this much money? Why? So they can do this? So they can do this. I'm sick. I wish I could have recorded my reaction because I was so upset. And then Justin Tucker gets the game-winning field goal, and I'm like, whoa! Always right in the world. That was fun. Yeah. I'll talk about my favorite moments of the Browns season here in a minute. But we'll talk about that when we get to the Browns. That sort of thing. Anybody else want to give their input on?
If it's what I think it is, you better talk to me that in private.
I will just give you a hint by the terms of Corvettes. But anyway, sorry.
Okay, I thought you meant in terms of Browns Ravens because you could easily just say 38-6. 38-6.
No. But nonetheless, good season. I enjoyed it. I want better next year. We want more. What did the Browns say? We want more. Yeah, we do too. Yeah. Add us to the list of wanting more teams.
And I was ready during that Chiefs game. I was ready to drop the Ryback gift. Feed me more as I call my lawyer. Anyway.
Well, he'll sue you. He'll be like, that's mine. Nah. But
fat back.
But if nobody else has any thoughts on the Ravens season, wouldn't expect you guys to anyway, because you guys, we all got our own fandoms that we love.
No, no, actually, what I actually thought you were going to say in terms of favorite moment, again, third and nine against the Titans, the 50-yard touchdown by Lamar, because I put him over the hump. That game changed on that play. I mean, and there were still spectacular plays. I mean, again, the even in a loss, the primetime games that the Browns have had, excellent environment, regardless, even if there was only 12,000 fans there. Excellent environment. It was loud. It came through the TV. That game, and then the game last year against the Rams, Al Michaels, Collinsworth, and other people were saying that like this is a playoff atmosphere, and that game, even obviously I was crushed at the end, and even we did the post game, whatever. Though I was still like, God damn, that was one of the greatest games I've ever seen in prime time. And take the bias out. That was a fucking football game.
Right. All right. Browns season in review. I mean, my quick thoughts on this. I think they, if you can say they overachieved, that's not like offensive. I don't think to anybody. I think this Browns team is what everybody expected the Browns to be the year before, when they got all the talent and all of that, where all the hype came in and stuff like that. But nonetheless, Adam, season review for your Brownies. Oh, should I give my favorite moment before you do that? For your Browns.
By all means, kind sir. By all means.
It was the absolute drubbing. The absolute of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was beautiful. It was so good. It proved that they were SAWF.
WFT.
All right, I'm done. Oh, one more time I had to remind myself of that, because that was just wonderful.
I've definitely replayed the highlights of that game over and over again, particularly with Jim Donovan's play-by-play calls, who is the greatest play-by-play man in the business. And yes, I am biased, but I really genuinely think that. I mean, I can talk 3 hours just on this season from the past. Yes, getting Odell and getting all these pieces last year, and then having the letdown, and then this year unfolds the way it did. I will never forget the 2020 season, from getting just taken to the woodshed the very first game. And again, everybody would kind of expect that, not having a legit offseason. Again, it was a tall task, even if there was no COVID. Again, I know I've made that point before, but Baker breaking franchise records, them not losing back-to-back games at all year, and the fact that for a couple of weeks, especially leading to the last part of the season, there was only 3 other teams that had a better record than the Browns. Those words have never been uttered since the expansion era, since 1999. Again, Saints, Packers, Chiefs. That was it. That was the list. Obviously, the defense was a problem. And I do believe that is, like with this offseason, they focus on the offense. This year, now they have the capital and the cachet to focus on the defense, which is great. You're going to get Grant Delpit back. There are some guys that they signed this past season that I do hope they keep, because I do think that they played a role and were very good. Like Andrew Sendeo, I think, got a bad rep. He wasn't good. I'm not saying that, but he played damn near every snap. The only time that he missed is when he was out with COVID. And I had heard and I think I put that in the chat earlier, there's a certain somebody who wants to reunite with Joe Woods and wants to play for Cleveland. And he plays for the San Francisco 49ers. and I'll just leave it at that. But I mean, the whole season was pure joy, but particularly that first half of the year where Odell, you got to see what the potential is with Odell, particularly that Dallas game was amazing. I was in Florida during that game and was, I don't want to say miserable, but until DJ effed my world up with that, hey, there's this app where you can actually watch the games and you don't have to have a TV provider. I couldn't watch. I'm watching a parade go by, and I'm seeing Kareem Hunt scores another touchdown. So, and then did I tell the story on here of the end around touchdown by Odell?
I think so, but remind us.
Yeah, but so no, just a abbreviated version. We're walking out of the park. I had just seen that the Browns recovered the onside kick. I'm like, all right, I can breathe a little bit. Just ice the game, get a couple first downs. We walk about 20 steps, and I look back down, and the game cast on ESPN app said Odell Beckham 50-yard touchdown, and I started running. I may have been cursing around children. I don't care. I was yelling and screaming and pumping my fist, and the guy, the little gimmick guys that stand on the side, kind of giving me and God bless my wife. She just goes, "He's very excited. He's very excited." Yes, this actually happened. Um, favorite moment of the year probably was, and I don't know if anybody has seen the prevailing conversations from either social media or watching it on ESPN, et cetera, was the Maserati play. That third and 2 against the Steelers. Baker does the end around and gets the first down. And Kareem Hunt with the block of his life. That sealed them getting into the playoffs. And I could not watch that game. I had to listen to it on the radio. And it was, I don't want to say it was anticlimactic, but listening to Donovan on the radio, he goes, and Baker gets the first down, yada, yada, yada. But then I realized the Steelers aren't calling the timeout. Oh my God, this game is over. And the Ravens game had just ended against Cincy. I turned the TV to CBS because they always do that, pan over to another game that's in progress, whatever. It was right when Baker was taking a knee, and I bawled like a baby in front of my television just because I had not had that feeling in 18 years. And this is the one thing with this year showed. You've closed the gap in terms of competing in the AFC North. And this is the other thing, kind of taking a small sidebar about the Colts. The Colts were the quietest 11-5 team this year. But the AFC is so crowded with talent. From the 80s on out, it was run by the NFC. And then Tom Brady came along and ruled the 2000s. But now they closed the gap. It actually feels sustainable. It's not like 2007 where it was a fluky 10-6 season. Like this actually feels like they're building something. Right coach, right GM, etc. And Kevin Stefanski winning Coach of the Year. I mean, I was elated. Not had that since we've not had that type of stability, or at least the potential of that stability, since Bill back in the mid '90s. So I mean, from the Ravens game, the Colts game, the Chiefs game, literally came down to the wire. We were the only team in the postseason to give the Chiefs that type of competitive game. Other than that, again, they were like an NBA team. Hands behind the back. Hey, call us in November or call us in January. We're looking to the playoffs. Yes, and that was with Mahomes out. Totally understand that, but nonetheless, they had their chance. And 3rd and 14, that's going to stick with me for 9 months. 3rd and 14.
Anything is possible.
But yeah. And the fact, and again, it just makes me sick even more because that fucker's a Michigan guy. Granted, Ohio State owned him, but again, this is the pros. But nonetheless, anyway, I was so happy about this. There's so many great moments. Even the goofiness that happened the last couple of weeks, where you had a game where they didn't have any wide receivers and guys were going without COVID left and right, and they still got found ways to win. And yes, I will hang on to that Steelers game for the rest of my life. After that game, I was like Ricky Bobby. I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands. And all the sportscasters the next day were, all saying the same things. I do not know how to put into words what I saw. Because there's one thing that they got off the schneid of winning at Heinz Field, but beating the ever living snot out of them. For the first play of that ball going over Big Ben's head, I said, something's different here. This never happens for a Cleveland team at any level. So I cannot wait. I cannot wait for next season. And we're going to have that mantra of we want more, but really, as it says here, that's going to be our mantra, unfinished business. Because now they are a formidable threat in the AFC. And they're also a formidable threat to you. And if I'm the NFL, I'm making that the first game of the year. Browns at Chiefs. Thursday night football. But we shall see.
At KC. It is at KC, yeah.
Well, I hope the Chiefs won't be playing on Thursday night football opening week. But anyway. Sorry. Hope it'll be the Tampa Bay bucket. But anyway, speaking of, anybody else got any thoughts on the Browns? Okay. Speaking of, while we're here, before we get into the Super Bowl preview, as always, you can always watch us on Facebook or YouTube, whatever you prefer. You can always listen. You can always put your earbuds in and take us with you. Well, you shouldn't be dancing because I don't think we sing too much on the show. But nonetheless, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, etc., 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 etc. Yes, Casey.
I think before we go on to our next major part of the show, which will be picked for the Super Bowl, we need to talk about the fall of a dynasty. A 7-9 fall of a once great dynasty, and not just because I want to stay against the Patriots fan. That's not it at all. I don't have any hard feelings for the past how many years it's been. Y'all suck.
Welcome to the rest of us.
Yeah.
And by the way, speaking of not dancing, when you were going through your little soliloquy about not dancing, when you guys thought that I went to Narnia, when I walked by the screen, I fucking hit my leg on my cupboard running by, and it hurt like a bitch.
All right. Yeah. The Patriots lost Tom Brady, and that's all I'm gonna say is, but Super Bowl
I think they also lost the guy that pays off the refs too.
He went with Tom.
No, he's still there. It's Robert Kraft.
All right. Super Bowl. Chiefs, Bucks. Week 12 was the last time they met this year. 3-point game. 27-24, I think. The Chiefs scooted out the win against the 7-5 falling off a cliff Buccaneers and Tom Brady. And here they are. This is interesting because this is one of those passing the torch type games. With the GOAT of all time, and of course our generation Sorry, Casey. Sorry to bring it back up, but the GOAT of our generation versus the potential GOAT of the next generation. Who knows?
He's actually a kid, because you know what a baby goat is? It's a kid.
Okay.
So we got the goat versus the kid.
Right. All right. Let's stick with that.
That's what Romo was saying also.
Casey's face. Oh. Anyway, so the Bucks and the Chiefs. I think this is going to be a good game. You know, everybody's like, "Oh, it's going to be high scoring." It's the Bucks and the Chiefs. Like no. The Super Bowl is never as high scoring as any regular season game. So, no. Unless it's one team doing the scoring and the other team doing the nothing. But, I mean, I think this is going to be a close game. I see it coming down to a 3-point victory possibly again, or like a touchdown at the end or something like that. But I think that touchdown is going to come via the arm of Thomas. What was his middle name? Casey? Leroy? What was his middle name?
Thomas Edwards Brady.
Edwards.
Lee. Nope. It's forever Leroy. I have dubbed this, and he is Thomas Leroy Brady.
Thomas Leroy, brother. Okay.
That sounds like an NXT name.
NXT. I got you.
It was Edward.
TLB.
It won't Leroy. Anyway, but
it was Leroy.
Oh,
it's
no.
Leroy.
Correction. It is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
Okay. So the two Patricks going against each other. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he's got the 18. He's got the 18 confirmation names, like a true Catholic boy.
But yeah, I think this is going to be a good game. I don't see this being a blowout either way. I see this being a pretty good game. Whew. It's kind of a toss-up because I think that both of these teams are just as good as the other team. I think the Chiefs are really good, as much as I hate to admit it. I think the Bucks are really good, as much as I kind of love to admit it. Everybody, and I love how everybody's like, "Oh, they just wanted Tom to be in the Super Bowl." Like, I'm like, the dude has 6 of them. Like, the man ain't got nothing else to prove in the Super Bowl. Like, if he didn't win not one more or went to any more, like, huh? Anyway, I just thought that was dumb. But anyway, like I said, I feel like this is gonna, like, I'm feeling like a little bit of a Seahawks situation from the Chiefs here. Right? They're going to go to these back-to-back Super Bowls.
No.
They're going to be feeling good, baby. They're going to be feeling good, Justin. They're going to be feeling good, and then they're going to throw the ball at the 1 yard. No. But I think they're going to lose in a close one, and I think it's going to end. It's going to end the dynasty, Justin. It's going to end it.
We don't even have a dynasty. We don't even have one. We don't have one.
The Seahawks were a dynasty, supposedly, and they went to back-to-back Super Bowls. So, bing, bang, boom. There you go. Hey.
Malcolm Butler.
And I think the picks
Malcolm Butler.
I don't even know none of the corners on the Bucks. So, insert random corner here. Yeah.
I don't know why. Okay.
The Bucks win this game.
The
Bucks win this game by the arm. And I'm not right-handed throwing the ball, so this might look weird. But by the arm. Thomas, Leroy, Edward, Peter, what's his name? Tom Brady. Just keep it at Tom. Keep it at Tom. Making up names at this point.
Ringo, George, Paul.
Okay, let me say one thing before you guys get on with the picks. So, back to that about the Seahawks and Patriots game, from a few years ago. I don't know why they still didn't, just run it in with Marshawn. Like at the 1 yard line. I don't know why they had to pass it. Like, that'd be a mistake that who
do y'all have to hand the ball off to? You got a bum, not bum like he sucks, like bum leg, Clyde, and you got Le'Veon, who we don't know what he doing. He might not even play. So then what?
I mean, Clyde, he did better in. I don't know.
No, but
DJ has not thought about this at all.
no, but I don't know. I don't know. It's something about those back-to-back Super Bowls that can quickly just cut the legs off a dynasty real quick. So I think the Bucks are gonna win this game, and the Chiefs are gonna tumble. Back to the AFC Championship game next year. They're gonna tumble to like 7-9. Probably not, but no, I'm joking. I think it's just gonna get tougher though, because the AFC is just getting tougher. So I think if you want to win another one, this is the year to do it. Because the Browns,
the AFC West is going to be very good next year.
Exactly. The Browns look good. The Ravens look good. The Colts look good. Just to shout out all of our teams here. But like you said, the AFC West, Justin Herbert's only getting better. Hopefully he grows his hair. I don't know why they did that to that man. He grows his hair back out, so that needs to happen. But who knows about the Broncos? They're weird. But I think the AFC's just getting better. So I don't know. It could go either way, though. I'm not. All jokes aside, it could literally go either way, and I really don't know who to pick. But I'm gonna pick the Buccaneers because my boy Tom, my boy, we bringing it back, Casey. We bringing it back. My boy Tom, gonna get him another. Gonna get him. I don't know why my eyes closed, but he's gonna give him another one. Okay.
You can see it. You can see it. You can feel it.
I'm getting a premonition. But anyway, let's go to Adam. The Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
You are all taking this pitch like a bunch of spot monkeys, like the Bucks of you. And by the way, before I dive into it, can you please give me your impression of what people were saying about Tom Brady? They just want to see him get into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I just want to see him get to the Super Bowl. Yeah, they cheating. He brought the cheaters with him. Like, what your team done did? Yeah, I said done did. What your team done did, okay? If you ain't the Chiefs, the Eagles, like, what has your team done did?
The Eagles.
They be trying to discredit my boy Tom like that. Like, this man got 6. He got 6 in 20 years. All right, I'm done. I'm going to breathe now, I promise. Look. And Steelers fans, you can't talk either. Because I know they love to come in
Steelers
here.
fans. Yeah, Steelers fans that are saying, like, yeah, but we got a better draft pick than you guys. You're excited about losing more?
Just lost quicker.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you get a better draft pick when you lose more games, and that's kind of like what happened to the Steelers at the end of the season. Again, you ever look at Ben Roethlisberger? He looks like he could be at Wreck-It Ralph. Now, on to the bowl that is spectacularly super. I do think, yes, this is going to be a slugfest. It's just going to be an offensive display. I think Tampa has the better defense, but KC's defense does not get the credit it deserves.
You're right. I don't get the credit I deserve.
Not Jobber Casey. But
that's Mr. Jobber to you.
You put some respect on this Jobber. But I do think
2 rumbles, baby. 2 rumbles.
But I think the Chiefs' defense is a little bit better than they get credit for. I mean, granted, you can score on them. That's the That's just how it is. And like in this instance, this is Rock versus Hogan. Again, like DJ, like you said, this is the potential passing of the torch, or it is just the further summation that Tom is the GOAT. Pains me to say, because I've been on the Joe Montana is still better train for a while, but it's irrelevant. Granted, to me, it's still weird to try to compare different eras, but that's besides the point. It's like Steph Curry. You can't compare Steph Curry's. What, Justin? What are you doing?
I whispered in your ear. I'm telling you what to say.
That's how I was feeling.
No, again, if you want a private chat for a kiss, just ask.
I'm whispering in your ear. There you go.
What is happening?
Okay, go ahead.
What is happening?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've just made these picks very uncomfortable. No, I think this would be a good game. Like I think the spread is like 3.
The last time
Something
I
like
checked,
that.
it is something like that.
Yeah, and it's fun. And it's funny too. This is at Tampa, but I think technically the Chiefs are the home team, which is
Tampa's
bizarre.
upset they can't fire their cannons after they score. So
Yeah, exactly. Which is
Where they can't fire their
it's
cannons.
bizarre.
But can we fire their cannons?
Yeah, because it's.
I say you fire the cannons after everybody scores. Boom.
I think you should do it. I think you should do it just before the ref flips the coin. All right, this is heads. This is tails. Bah! So, no, but I think as much as again, I don't, and I'm being genuinely objective. I do think that just KC has too much offensively.
I do.
That they can not you cannot I need to step there. The chefs have got all the talent in the world, baby.
Are they bringing in?
If you ain't got the
they
tools,
bringing in Ramsey?
you ain't getting in.
What they serving now?
Serving some good barbecue, some good old, a good city barbecue.
Fish?
Chicken wings.
Fish?
Barbecue.
Yeah,
Barbecue wings, hot wings.
That's right. But I think I'm gonna give it to the chefs here in a close one.
Okay. All right. There's
Cassie.
only 2 of you left, so let's go to Casey, or Chase, or Cassie, whatever we call them nowadays.
KT Chefs.
KC.
18 years. 18 years since the Tampa Bay Baby Buccaneers been to the Super Bowl and got the dub. I literally work with people who were not born yet.
Was that the time when they had Skinny Otis as their coach?
Fucking hate you so much.
No, Skinny Otis was the coach at the time. What you call Tom Brady, all right?
Oh, I hate you guys so much.
Oh yeah.
That call. Oh yeah.
I love that man. But anyway, 18 years and they're coming back. I'll admit, I never thought there would ever be a season or even a game where I would root for Tom Brady. But 2020 came along and said, hold my beer. And I held its beer. And it was glorious. It was glorious. And listen, let's be honest. You cannot count out or bet against Tom Brady. You can't. You can't do it. You can't do it. He is not the GOAT. I reserve that for someone else. He is the second
Hey,
best.
ask the Falcons about counting them out.
This is true. This is true. I mean, like you guys said, it's going to be a close game. But I can't deal with Chiefs fans anymore. Can't do it. And if they beat Tom Brady, oh God, we'll never hear the end of it. We beat the GOAT. We beat the greatest of our time. We're Chief Kingdom. No, this can't happen. No. I will. No. They can't win. I'm sorry, Justin. You can't. No. No.
I just like how we've given a new character. We just given a new character to fans. We beat this, baby.
I need to hear your
I'll tell you what, man.
impersonation.
I ran into a fan like that before, and I had to give him a restraining order.
I need to hear your Otis impersonation again. One more time.
Oh yeah!
That kills me.
Oh,
Oh,
Justin, take us home, brother.
take you home, sweet home, Adam. No, I don't know.
See, and this is why we don't do music on this podcast. That in particular.
Madly Mama, take me home. Okay.
All right, so
Okay, so here we
looked
go.
at the live report. We have 1 million dislikes. We only got 2 views, guys. Like,
okay, so I'm not going to try to be so biased here. Okay, so we got the GOAT. We got the GOAT, Tom Brady, versus the kid. Now we got 7. This could be a 7th ring here. But I don't want him to get more than MJ. I don't want him to. And I always hated Tom Brady, even when he played for the Patriots. Because, I mean, a few years ago when we played him in the AFC Championship game, if we didn't have that offsides, we would have went to the Super Bowl that year. I'm just saying. But now we get face him in the Super Bowl here. Ooh. It's going to be a tight game, and it's going to be really, really tight here. Chiefs are winning. My team's winning. I can't go against my team. I mean, there's been a few times I have went against my team, but that's a rare occasion. That's a rare occasion I go against my team. But no, we're not going to lose. We're not losing. But I mean, it could go either way though.
I've never seen Justin go against his team, not one time.
Actually, a few years ago, I went against my team. Yeah, a few years ago when we had Alex Smith. Go look at that.
If he says so.
He didn't. That never happened.
It happened.
I don't think it's possible, but nonetheless.
Not one time.
Any final thoughts, fellas, on the Super Bowl? And go ahead.
The only thing that I will say that because it involves Patrick Mahomes, sort of, Terry Bradshaw this week. Terry Bradshaw uttered
The real
these
TB.
words. In my heyday, I could have made the same type of throws that Patrick Mahomes does, but I chose not to.
Okay, if he says so.
Which is the equivalent if he says so. So that is a definite, sir, do you mind stepping out of the car, please, statement. Because that is, like, you have to be drunk out of your gore to utter these words. Well, I tell you what, I could have made those type of throws that Patrick Mahomes did. I just chose not to.
all those hits he took as a Steeler must have really be getting to his head. Anyway.
Exactly. That's him saying that shit after Turkey Jones dropped him on his head.
But anyway.
Turkey Jones was the '70s version of Nia Jax.
Nia. But anyway, next week we will have our off-season kind of. Well, Justin will give his season in review type deal, and we'll all four of us will talk about our off-season thoughts, what we think is going to happen. I guess we'll go with what we would love to happen versus what we think is actually going to happen. We'll go in that way. But nonetheless, other than that, should be an interesting show next week with is Adam frozen or is he tripping me
I think
out right
he's going like.
I think he's tripping me out right now. How is he doing this? Like I'm really confused. Like I really am. Like I'm kind of confused. But anyway, regardless, definitely hope you guys enjoyed. We got that coming up next week. Of course, we're going to do that wrestling discussion that we mentioned earlier as well next week. But as always, you can always watch us on Facebook or YouTube, whichever you prefer. Okay, that solves that question. You can also, listen to us Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, etc., etc. And until next time, we'll see you on that next video, which I'm not sure what that'll be, but we will see you on that one. Bye.